On KGUN 9.
A divisive election pushing democracy to the edge. And our southern Arizona neighborhoods have been the nation's battleground.
From the president to the Cochise County Board of Supervisors, KGUN 9 is tracking it all.
We've covered every major moment of the race so far. Now we're bringing you your results.
With team coverage on our local and statewide races, we'll have what you need to know when you need to know it.
Your KGUN 9 News election coverage starts right now.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us on this Election Night 2024. I'm Pat Paris.
And I'm Heidi Laga. It's a busy election night as we follow all the important races here in southern Arizona.
We're going to begin with one of the biggest numbers to tabulate, and that, of course, is the race for the White House and the Electoral College numbers. And you see the Electoral College map. You see Donald Trump with the lead at 230 to 189 for Kamala Harris. Yet to be decided, of course, the state of Arizona and the blue wall, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. Will continue to follow that. Now, let's go to the state of Arizona and go to the count so far in this race for the president. You see Donald Trump, the former president, with an 8,726 vote lead over Vice President Kamala Harris. Of course, that vote, if we compare it to where it was in 4 years ago, Donald Trump with 49.1%, Joe Biden at 49.4%. So similar numbers for Harris percentage-wise, but Donald Trump has moved up there. Now let's look. There's kind of a conspicuous missing county right now, and that is Cochise County. And Heidi's got much more on that.
Our Cochise County reporter Alexis Ramanjulu is in Bisbee and has the very latest on this developing story. Alexis?
Big story that we'll continue to follow, because here's a look at the Senate race here in the state of Arizona. The Democrat Ruben Gallego, the last 3 terms as a congressman in the Phoenix area. Kari Lake, the former TV news anchor, a failed attempt 2 years ago for the state of Arizona governor. And we're still missing that all-important Cochise County. All-important certainly for Kari Lake, who would assume would pick up more votes in that county, but she is trailing right now by 132 votes.
KGUN 9's Ryan Fish and Andrew Christensen are both in Maricopa County covering the Senate race that Pat just mentioned. Ryan has been covering Lake's campaign. He joins us live now in Phoenix. Ryan, you are not at a watch party tonight.
Yeah, Pat and Heidi, no traditional watch party tonight for Kari Lake. We'll keep you up to date as we learn more and more of those numbers come in here to downtown Phoenix. For now, live in Maricopa County, Ryan Fish, KGUN 9.
All right, Ryan, thank you so much. Our continuing team coverage here is with Andrew Christensen. He's been covering Ruben Gallego's campaign. Andrew, what are you seeing at the watch party? Well, let's check in now on the rematch between the incumbent Republican Juan Ciscomani and Democrat Kirsten Engel, both seeking House of Representatives for District 6. You can see here that Engel does have the lead with 54.1% of the vote. Ciscomani at 44.1% of the vote. Now, Juan Ciscomani would be seeking his second term, but you can see here that big white area, Cochise County. These are the results we are waiting for, and we expect that these will change the way this is looking drastically. Right now, the difference between them is 22,000 votes.
And we'll continue our coverage right now. KGUN 9's Kenny Darr and Craig Smith covering these two candidates and have the very latest.
You know, it's interesting. It's interesting that a minute ago we heard Kyler talking about the conditions at the El Conquistador Resort. Reporting live in Oro Valley, Craig Smith, KGUN 9.
All right, let's head out now to Kenny Darr. He's covering the other side of the aisle at Kirsten Engel's watch party.
Hey, look, Heidi, the spirits have been pretty up all evening long since this watch party first started. People have been dancing. You can probably hear music behind me, and that is for good reason. Reporting from Hotel Congress, Kenny Darr, KGUN 9.
Pima County Sheriff, a race that has been making news in our neighborhoods over the past few weeks.
Yeah, everything you need to know about the incoming election results when we return on KGUN 9 News at 10. New tonight, 4 people have been arrested in this deadly shooting.
4 teens are charged in connection to the Midtown house party that left a U of A sophomore dead. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Pat Paris.
And I'm Heidi Laga. TPD tells us that all 4 suspects were identified as shooters in the car caught in that surveillance video.
Yeah, let's break down the arrests now. Last Friday, police arresting 8-year-old Estevan Garcia. Yesterday, they arrest 17-year-olds Tavion Beal and Marcus Williams. Today, officers arresting 17-year-old Akeem Alvarez.
Now, I did find the first 3 suspects on the Pima County Adult Detention Center website. They're all being held on a $1 million bond each. And about 30 minutes ago, that 4th suspect, Akeem Alvarez, he's made it into the system, but no bond has been set. It's been over 7 weeks since that deadly shooting.
Yeah, so how did we get to these 4 arrests? Here's a timeline of all of the events. In the early hours of Sunday, April 28th, at a house party on East 5th Street, 20-year-old U of A student Aaron Jones is shot and killed. 3 others are hurt. Initially, Tucson police have no suspects. On May 1st, KGUN 9's Ryan Fish speaks to an anonymous student, still shaken, who fled the party as shots were fired. The next day, May 2nd, another student comes forward to speak with KGUN 9, saying the shots came from a car. Also that day, KGUN 9 is the first to report on a search warrant naming 4 U of A football players who organized the house party. On May 3rd, Tucson police urge witnesses to come forward with any information on the shooters. They offer a $2,500 reward for information that leads to an arrest. May 14th, Tucson police hold a news conference releasing surveillance video from the night of the deadly shooting. They say the shooting lasts for more than 6 minutes. Authorities again ask for help in identifying the suspects. 1 month later, TPD begins arresting suspects. Over a 5-day period, authorities arrest 4 suspects and say all 4 have been identified as shooters from the vehicle seen in the surveillance video.
But first, monsoon storms roaring through southern Arizona tonight, bringing tornado warnings and flooding, leaving power outages and damage behind. We're taking a look at the aftermath in your neighborhoods. KGUN 9 News starts right now. Heavy rain and wind ripped through Tucson earlier this evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Ryan Fish, and we're taking a look at that power of Mother Nature and the damage it left behind. A downpour downtown with winds and hail that took down a number of trees there. Tucson Fire Department saying, quote, downtown is a mess with fallen trees. In addition to those trees, on Granada just north of Congress, a canopy in a parking area destroyed by these storms, covering several cars there. And flooding like this, leading TFD to at least 5 swiftwater rescues across Tucson. Remember, turn around, don't drown. In Marana, people seeing hail like this beating down in neighborhoods and strong winds there too, uprooting trees with enough force to rip up sidewalks. And those strong winds also hitting the north side. Check this out. Fallen trees littering the parking lot of an apartment complex off of Oracle. 1 large tree nearly missing an apartment unit. Residents there reported serious storm damage through that whole area. KGUN 9's Adam Klepp is live from the north side tonight near Princeton Fairview, where an auto zone was severely damaged by today's storms. Adam, what are you seeing there?
Hey Ryan, yeah, you took us all around town showing us a bunch of damage, but this is one of the more dramatic sites at this AutoZone. As you said, on Prince and Fairview, the wall completely came off the west side of the building, and you can see all of those car parts, boxes completely exposed right now. There is security on site making sure that nobody comes to try and take anything, but this site has been a pretty big attention spot for the community. One man said he's been living in Tucson a long time, but hasn't seen something like this.
I've never seen anything like that in Tucson. I've been here 31 years.
And this is not the only spot in Tucson seeing flood damage, monsoon damage. I was over on Speedway by I-10 just over an hour ago. The overpass area was completely flooded. When I showed up, cars were stuck down there in the flooding, but eventually they were removed, and then other drivers decided they would just try and drive through it themselves. And then more locals continued gathering on the overpass watching this all go down. This is something that's going to take more than a few days to clean up. So as you're driving tomorrow to work, please be careful when you're out on those roads. And again, with that overpass and the flooding there, turn around, don't drown. Please take care of yourselves and your family as we continue to recover from these monsoon storms. Reporting at Prince and Fairview, Adam Klepp, KGUN 9.
Dramatic damage tonight. Thank you, Adam. And unsurprisingly, this is TEP's interactive outage map showing where those power outages currently stand. And not a surprise, there are several thousand in Tucson without power at this hour. To find this tool, you can head to our website at kgun9.com.
We begin tonight with breaking news following the assassination attempt in Pennsylvania that has rattled the country. Thank you for being with us. I'm Claire Graham. Tonight, former President Trump is recovering from the shooting at his final campaign rally ahead of the Republican National Convention, and he appears to be okay. Here in the developing aftermath, we have big team coverage for you. It happened at Trump's campaign rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, a small, largely Republican city. The former president was speaking when he got shot in the upper part of his ear. He then ducked below his podium as members of the Secret Service rushed in to surround him and took him off the stage. The Secret Service says the gunman who fired at the president used an AR-15 rifle from outside the rally on a rooftop, and within moments they killed him. The FBI now says he was a 20-year-old man from Pennsylvania. One person in the crowd was also killed in this shooting, and 2 others are now fighting for their lives in the hospital. For many people at the rally, the gunfire seemed to come out of nowhere, causing terror and chaos.
You know, then the former president was giving his speech. Then moments later, there was some, popping sounds that were going off. There were about maybe 6 or 7 to 8 shots that were happening.
More like what we heard. The bullets rattling around the grandstand. One hit the speaker tower, and then chaos broke. We hit the ground, and the police converged to the grandstands.
As former President Trump was escorted out of the rally, he held up his fist in the air. Police slowly started evacuating the crowd at that point, and they shut down the rally earlier than planned. While he is now being treated for the injury to his ear, Trump posted online tonight confirming that he's okay. In his post on Truth Social, he also thanked the Secret Service and local law enforcement for taking action so quickly. He said in part, quote, "Most importantly, I want to extend my condolences to the family of the person at the rally who was killed, and also to the family of the other person that was badly injured. It is incredible that such an act can take place in our country. Nothing is known at this time about the shooter, who is now dead." Now tonight, President Biden is condemning the violence. He spoke out shortly after the shooting, and he now says he has spoken with Trump on the phone. He says this violence never should have happened.
But the bottom line is that the Trump rally was a rally that he should have been able to be conducted peacefully without any problem. But the idea that there's political violence or violence in America like this is just unheard of. It's just not appropriate. And everybody must condemn it.
Now, on a local level, when we talk about political violence, Tucson unfortunately comes to mind because of the January 8th shooting in 2011, where a gunman killed 6 people and wounded 12 others, including then Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords. Now, Craig Smith, you're here with us now. You have covered this shooting since it happened. You were there that day, and you have some insight now from one of the survivors.
Yes, as we learn more about the killer, his apparent mental illness drove him, but it did drive him to attack a political gathering. Ron Barber was wounded that day. He replaced Giffords in Congress when she was unable to serve. Now he's out of Congress, but still working, dedicated to reducing the anger in American politics.
When I saw where former President Trump was shot, and you ask about was it triggering, yes it was, because my old boss, Gabby Giffords, was shot on that side of her head, and it just brought it all back.
Ron Barber could have died that day too. He was badly wounded and still feels the wounds today. The shooting happened 13 years ago, but in an angry political atmosphere that has only grown more angry since. Barber is a dedicated Democrat who disagrees with Donald Trump on many things, but he says disagreements must never devolve into violence.
What happened today to former President Trump was terrible, and every American should condemn it and say there's no place in our political life for this kind of action.
Barber has worked with Republicans and through a range of organizations to try to build a personal and political culture that can disagree without language that's like a punch in the mouth.
And one of our main goals is to tamp down the violent rhetoric. And we know that a lot of people who are running elections, election workers, volunteers, as well as staff, are frightened because they've been threatened for doing their job.
Now, we also talked about how social media can help a few angry voices reach and inflame a wide audience. You know, it's not thoughtful, civil language that takes hold and really spreads on social media. It's that angry punch in the mouth kind of language.
I mean, that's what we see so much of in today's day and age. It's really scary that it led to something like this.
And the question is, how do you really get people back into a mindset where you can agree, or you can disagree, but disagree agreeably.
We certainly hope that's the future. All right, Craig Smith, thank you so much tonight. Now let's take you to the foothills this evening, to the spot where the January 8th shooting happened. That's where KGUN 9's Alex Dowd has been talking with people in our community to see how they're feeling about tonight's shooting. Alex?
I'm standing right by the Safeway where Gabby Giffords was shot 13 years ago while holding a Congress on Your Corner meeting. I'm here today to ask people what they think about the shots fired at Donald Trump's rally earlier today. Reporting from Ina and Oracle, Alex Dowd, KGUN 9.